bringing people and communities together on seclosounds.org.
Your listening station.
You can make comments about the show at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. My guest this week is Angie Sloan. She's from the UK-Kenya Tourist Office in London. We're talking about Kenya on the show because the Foreign and Commonwealth Office have relaxed their travel advisories for Mombasa and the coastal region. We've been talking about safaris and beaches and stuff. And now we're going to find out if there's more to do in Mombasa, the Mombasa coastline, than just sitting on the beach and looking at the sea.
One of the closest national parks to Mombasa in the coastal area is Savo. And it's actually divided, it's so big, it's the size of Wales. It's divided into east and west, and that's, it's ideally, people who perhaps want to be based on the coast maybe will go up to Savo National Park for 2 nights. And there's also Shimba Hills National Reserve. That's very close to Mombasa. That's probably one of the closest ones. So yeah, there are quite a few different parks you can go to, so you can be based on the coast and just do a 2-3 night safari, or even just go up to Shimba Hills for the day as well. It'll be a long day, but you can certainly do that.
So you can still see animals and get a tan.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I think everyone who goes to Kenya will, certainly for the first time, they'll take themselves off on a day or 2 night safari, because you just can't believe what you're seeing, roaming in their natural habitat. I think people are so used to seeing wildlife in zoos, but then we have all these incredible David Attenborough programs that show the animals in their natural environment, and when you're in Kenya, anyone can see this. Anyone can see it firsthand, and it still blows my mind. I've been so fortunate to go to Kenya so many times, and it absolutely blows me away, the wildlife, every time I go there.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite places in the world.
Oh.
When I was there, the locals tried to teach me Swahili.
Yeah.
But how many different local languages are there, and what's the one that's spoken mainly?
Swahili is the national language, and English is, they say English is the second language, so you have no problem communicating. But it's so good to learn a few words of Swahili because the locals love it. Jambo is hi, very easy to remember, and just to have a few greetings in Swahili, the locals absolutely love. But there are a lot of tribal language used across Kenya, but Swahili is without a doubt, that's the national language.
Yeah, well, I've got an embarrassing story about learning Swahili. We was over there when 9/11 happened.
Oh dear.
And we flying back a few days later. I was a nervous flyer, so I had to take Valium to get on the plane. And everybody was stressed about getting through security and getting on the plane because of what happened. And because I was so out of it on Valium, I was speaking Swahili to all the security people and everything. So instead of people moaning at them about the queues, there's me being an idiot speaking in Swahili because I was a bit stoned. But there we go. I got a lot of invites back, I did, but there we go. Talking about medical stuff, do you need any injections or any other medical device before you go?
You should. We say that anyone going to Kenya needs to either go to a travel clinic or consult their GP at least 6 weeks before they go. Malaria, everyone will be advised to get malaria tablets, and then depending on your past history of vaccinations will determine if you need anything additional or any top-ups.
Okay. You've got a UK passport. Do you need a visa?
You do need a visa, yeah. You can get that from the Kenya High Commission in London before you travel, or you can get it upon arrival in Nairobi and Mombasa airports.
Right, so if you forget, you can still get in.
Yeah, absolutely. You can get it there and then when you arrive.
That's good. How should you deal with the authorities when you're out there? Because you hear all sorts of stories.
I personally, it's just a matter of being very polite and very courteous. If you have an issue while you're in Kenya, then we'd always say to contact the British consulate. They have over the last year set up the tourist police. So there is tourist police are a lot more visible in touristy areas who are there to help the tourists. So yeah, that would be our recommendation.
Yeah, they do sound a lot more friendly to speak to. Are there any big events coming up in Kenya over the next year or so?
Do you know, we have the most amazing calendar of events all year round. The end of August, we see our annual Rift Valley Music Festival, which is a festival like you know of any music festival. You go to this area and you camp, and there's lots of arts and crafts there to buy, and you know, all of your food outlets there, it's absolutely brilliant, the Rift Valley Music Festival. November, we have a wonderful cultural festival in Lamu. Lamu is Kenya's oldest town, and it's one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, which is absolutely amazing as well. Lots of traditional dances and handicraft displays and different musical performances. And then this year, on the 3rd of November, the total solar eclipse will pass over Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly the weather conditions in northern Kenya are said to be some of the best along the path of the eclipse. So I know that a lot of people are planning, people who go over and watch these eclipses are planning on heading down to Kenya in November. And then, of course, in December, Kenya celebrates its 50th anniversary of independence. So every year we have celebrations around what we call Jamhuri Day on the 12th of December, and this year it will be even bigger as Kenya celebrates 50 years of independence.
50 years, it's going to be a big party then, isn't it?
It is going to be a big party. Well, we've had so many parties lately with helping Her Royal Highness Queen Elizabeth celebrate her Diamond Jubilee, because of course the Queen found out she was going to be Queen when she was on holiday with Prince Philip in Aberdeen. So we celebrated that, and celebrated the Olympics, and celebrated William and Kate getting engaged in Kenya. So, been lots of celebrations.
Any excuse for a party by the sound of it.
Yeah, Kenyans love a party.
I always bring up food when I interview people. Is there a national dish for Kenya?
There is, yes, and it's a dish called nyama choma, which quite literally means roasted meat. So it's roasted meats, barbecued, which is very popular, and there's lots of other very nice different style vegetables that you get in Kenya, because of course a lot of the vegetables that you buy in the supermarkets in the UK have been grown in Kenya, so you can imagine how fresh the food is when you're there.
You said you pop over quite regularly. Do you have a favourite place to eat?
Oh.
Or do you want to keep it a secret?
Oh, I've been to lots of fantastic places in Nairobi. I think personally one of my favourite experiences anywhere in the world is to have dinner in the bush, where you literally have dinner. You can do it you don't have to be out on a safari. You can be out in the Nairobi National Park. That Nairobi only minutes from the city centre. You can be in the Nairobi National Park, and you can have the wonderful traditional nyama choma, and all cooked for you, laid out on a table out in the bush, and listening to all the wild animals in some parks next to rivers. That for me is just the ultimate, to be outside having dinner under the stars.
I didn't do that. I'll have to make sure I do that next time.
Oh yeah, you've got to do that. Yeah, breakfast as well. Breakfast in the bush is equally brilliant. So yeah, those two are probably my favourite dining experiences in Kenya.
I had breakfast by a lake, and a herd of elephants came along. There's a baby who wasn't quite sure how to get water. So he spent the whole breakfast watching this baby elephant trying to figure out how to get water out using his trunk. And it was just one of those magical moments.
Yeah.
You just never know what you're going to see when you go, because it's always different. So.
I know, and that is the beauty of Kenya. I mean, wherever you go, you do see something different. You know, whether it be a lion, going after its dinner, or the animal getting away, or it's just such an amazing country. It really is, as you know.
Yeah, as I do.
Yeah.
How can the listeners find out more about Kenya?
Well, there's an enormous amount of British tour operators and travel agencies who sell holidays to Kenya, both on the high street and online. We've got a very comprehensive website, which is magicalkenya.com, which has lots of information about all the different national parks, activities to do, how to get there, which is very comprehensive as well.
Yeah, great. I'll make sure the website's put on my website so they can find it.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Angie. Thanks for your time.
That's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Mike Barry.
And I'm Bob Bluffield.
And together with Alan Mullion, we bring you The Grumpy Old Men on Saturday morning between 8 and 10. We take a look back at what's been happening during the week and let's just say discuss it.
Oh yes, we do play some good music as well. That's all here every Saturday morning between 8 and 10 on Seclo Sounds.
Step into the spotlight with me, Lucy, every Wednesday between 6 and 7 p.m. on Seclo Sounds. I'll have new music, the latest entertainment news, and interviews with local bands. If you're in a band, or if you have music that you think I should be playing, I'd love to hear from you. Email me, lucy@seclosounds.org, and join me every Wednesday from 6 till 7 for Spotlight on Seclo Sounds.
You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. And now, travel news. Business travellers off to the USA face the prospect of cancelling flights or making other travel plans as technical problems have halted all visa applications. It was reported this week that the US Embassy in Grosvenor Square, London, has not issued a visa for over 7 days, with the problem not being expected to resolve in the next few days anyway. The American Embassy in London said the Department of State's Bureau of Consular Affairs is currently experiencing technical problems with its visa systems. The issue is not specific to any particular country or visa category. These issues have resulted in delays in printing visas and may mean rescheduling some visa interviews. We are currently working urgently around the clock to correct the problems and restore our system to full operational status. And of course, the Embassy regrets any inconvenience to travellers. This fault is reported to be affecting computers that deal with security-related biometric checks at embassies. Because this data is mandatory in processing applications, the failure has hit the entire system. And of course, the US officials are saying there's no evidence of a cyber attack. So, if you're looking for a visa, you're waiting for a visa and you need updates, then just keep checking www.travel.state.gov to find out what's going on. And hopefully you're not being held up for too long. Earlier in June, IATA, which is the International Air Transportation Association, which kind of have all the rules for all the airlines, they came up with a solution to the carry-on luggage problem. If you might realise that a lot of airlines charge people to check luggage in now. So obviously passengers are going for the cheaper option and they're getting as much as they can into their hand luggage cases. And you've got some airlines with different size cases, allowances. You get people who are trying their best to get a case which isn't designed for hand luggage into the storage area on board. It's never going to fit, and I've seen one or two manage to get it to fit, but they never got it out, not while I was around anyway. But IATA's hoping to come up with a solution. And IATA itself says that interest has been intense since they come up with their new idea, and so that because of this there's been some confusion and concerns raised in the media, particularly in North America. The New York Senator Chuck Schumer criticised the effort, saying that while airlines are making record profits, the change would add further financial burden on travellers who already pay extra for checked luggage, as I mentioned, legroom, headphones and other services. Well, I've not been charged for headphones yet, but I'm sure that's on its way over here. IATA Senior Vice President Tom Wilmer said that this is clearly an issue, but it's close to the heart of travellers and they need to get it right. What they announced was a voluntary initiative, which didn't come across as voluntary in the first few stories. It was going to be, this is going to be happening. It was designed to bring common sense and order to the problem of differing bag sizes, giving passengers greater assurance of their carry-on would be allowed into aircraft cabins wherever they're flying. The programme suggested that smaller bags measuring 55 by 35 by 20 centimetres, which if you're me, you don't know what that means. In inches, it's 21.5 times 13.5 times 7.5, and that would be the official cabin OK type size. IATA reiterated some key principles of the Cabin OK initiative, saying that it would continue to guide the reassessment, and went on to say that it is a guideline for optimally sized cabin luggage, not an industry standard, which is, as I mentioned a few moments ago, that's what everybody thought when it was put out there. And they're saying that this recommend principles don't seek to define a maximum size for carry-on bags.